about winning the Jurors Award for Best of Show?
Well, I feel very honored that I got the Best of Show. I entered the piece, of course, not expecting anything like that, so when I got the word that I had the Best of Show, it was pretty exciting.
Could you explain a little about the process of how you came up with this painting?
The technique that I use for the painting is called glazing. And when you glaze, what you do is you mix the paint pigment in with a clear medium. And then it's, as you paint onto the picture, it's a translucent paint film that, so you can see through to the layers underneath.
Could you talk about the different figures on the painting?
Well, the characters that I'm using here are, of course, it's all symbolic, but what I'm doing here is I'm illustrating part of the Bible. I do a lot of my paintings that depict different scenes from the Scripture. I've been studying the Bible since about 1975, and I've had a lot of wonderful spiritual experiences that have drawn me close to God, so that the only type of painting that I want to do are things that actually illustrate either scenes from the Bible or different types of settings that would come through the Scripture, and that could be even pertain to a lot of times to our modern day. And so what I'm doing in this particular scene, I'm showing Yesu Christ as he is in the Garden of Gethsemane. The painting is called Agony in Gethsemane, the Tribulation of Yesu Christ. And so what I have is Christ in an arm wrestling match with a demon, and the demon here is represented in clothes of, he would be like a Pharisee, because at that particular time it was the Pharisees that he was up against. And so the Pharisees were trying to get him into a situation where they could pronounce him as a blasphemer, so that they could then in turn convict him and sentence him to death so they could crucify him. And so here he is the night before his crucifixion, and he goes out into the Garden of Gethsemane to pray, and he brought his disciples along to pray with him. So the three disciples are pictured down in the far corner of the painting here. They came along, but they couldn't stay awake, because as he prayed, every time he'd go back to see his disciples, he'd find them sleeping. And he'd wake them up. Well, what's going on here? Can't you even stay awake for an hour and pray with me? And then he'd go back and he'd kneel down and pray again. And it said that as he prayed there in the garden and he faced what was going to happen to him with the crucifixion and everything, that's symbolized here with this demon holding up the crucifix like he's taunting him and saying, here's what we're going to be doing to you tomorrow. We're going to have you on the cross, you know. So he's in agony, and as he's facing the torture and the torment that he's going to go through, he's in such an agony that the Scripture says the sweat was, as it were, great drops of blood falling down to the ground. See, and the Scripture verse is written out here on the handkerchief. Tells that the blood sweat and dripped down to the ground. So, and scientists have even found that this is a phenomenon, that if a person is under a great agony, that blood vessels beneath the surface of the skin can actually break, and the blood comes out through the sweat pores. So it's a proven fact that this could happen. And so here he is, he's sweating out these drops of blood. But then the light coming down from above, it says in the Scripture that while he was in this agony, an angel strengthened him and comforted him. So I've got the light coming down from above and shining on him, so it's as if he's receiving this heavenly strength from the angels, you know, comforting him and you know, tell him, well, you know, to go on, you know, continue on.
So how long did it take to paint the entire painting?
The painting here took about close to 400 hours. So yeah. So this painting being about 5 feet wide and 4 feet high, and with all the detail that's in it, you know, about 400 hours is the time that I've got in it. Some of my paintings are larger and I've got more time in them, but I've been doing a lot of smaller works now too.
How long have you been painting?
I've been painting since about 1962. So painting career has been going for over 30 years now, but it's just since 1988 that I've actually begun to exhibit, and the types of spiritual paintings that I'm doing now is they pretty much stem from 1988.
So how do you feel about the other paintings in this exhibit?
It seems like a pretty good show altogether here that I see.